Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing, and today we've got another very interesting combo to try out, and I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to be a very nice performer, assuming everything works together as good as I hope it does anyway. We've seen great performances from this choke and buckshot before, and these shells have not been too bad either. So in theory, it should work, but we don't know until we try it. But for the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the Winchester Double X buckshot loads, but these ones are the 12 gauge, 3-inch, 12 pellet load of double aught, moving about 1450 feet per second. We've tested these several times with some solid results, as well as the 3.5-inch version of these as well. And with that 1450 claim and 12 pellets worth of double aught, they're a pretty stout shell. They're definitely hot in the velocity for sure, and compared to your average 2 3/4 or even 3-inch 9 or 12 pellet double aught load, these do tend to have a little more recoil, or at least a little more snappy of a recoil impulse, because that's moving a lot of weight at that velocity. These are copper plated and buffered, but they do not have a wad in them, so it should be rather interesting to see what they'll do through today's choke combo. As for today's setup, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and we're going to be running a Patternmaster Black Mamba. It's a 690 constriction, so right at that typical full choke range compared to other Remington chokes in particular. That's usually about what they measure as far as constriction goes. This is kind of Patternmaster's do-all choke. You can run turkey loads, buckshot, steel waterfowl stuff, and it's done well with just about everything we've put through it that's a decent shell, so this should work out well. And as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards, the chronograph so we can get the velocity, and the templates that we can lay up over our results. So we'll get you guys a view of that target, take the shot, and see what we get from these double X loads through that Black Mamba 690. I've got good hopes, but let's see what we get. All right, that shell gave us 1257 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1450. It's been a little while since we've tested these, but from what I can remember, I thought they were up around that 1400 mark. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since we've had these shells out. They're still pretty quick and snappy in the recoil department as well, but 1250s is plenty good enough for an average double aught load. So let's head down there to 40 yards and see how it actually patterned. All right, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and we see a little bit of an interesting result here. We had all 12 pellets on the paper, and the white dot was the point of aim. I think the pattern as a whole is pretty centered up, but I definitely think the majority of our pattern favored off to the left, with kind of 3 flyers up there in the top right. This shell doesn't have a wad, so those 3 pellets were not sitting above the edge of the wad or anything like that. So it seems like they're just kind of legitimate flyers, but overall, it's an okay pattern. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of an even spread. I did measure everything the farthest 2 points across, from that very bottom left pellet to that very top pellet up there, is 23 inches of spread, but we had 15 inches for these main pellets right down here, not including those top right 3. Usually I like to see 20 inches or better at 40 yards, and I mean, technically we're in the ballpark. It's just not a super even spread of pellets. If that left area of pellets is where the main bulk of the load patterned, we have a pretty decent void right in the middle of them. And of course, those ones that strung up in the top right, so not the most even spread. It's not blown all over the place, but 12 pellets going through a 690 choke. It might not be over choked necessarily, but they might prefer a little bit less, maybe 695, maybe 700, somewhere right in that range. Might be a little bit better and give them a little more breathing room to work with. But for the blank sheet of paper, it's okay, but I don't think it's anything over the top special to write home about. I can already tell you it's going to be good enough to do the job, but let's throw a couple templates up just to give you guys a better reference than a big sheet of paper. So first up, we have a 10-inch circle. If we center it up, you can see that we were pretty center on our entire pattern, but that only gave us 2 pellets within 10 inches at 40 yards. Not great for sure, but I'll move that template over to where I think our actual core probably is. that being somewhere in that neighborhood. So we picked up a couple pellets, 4, maybe 5 up there at the very top edge, but definitely nothing overly impressive for a 10-inch circle at 40. Obviously, a couple pellets through a vital sized area at 40, which would be that 10-inch equivalent, is going to do the job just fine. But I wouldn't mind seeing at least a little more consistency. If we're going to have 4 or 5 pellets within there, you can still see we have a good void right down there at the bottom. So a little more consistent of a spread would have been nice. But let's throw some animal templates up, and that'll really give us a better story and let us see the whole picture here, I think. So next up, we have a deer template. If we line it up with where we would have been aiming, we would have had about 9 pellets that would have hit the deer, several of which would have been through the vital area, so it would absolutely be dead deer at 40 yards all day long. Probably wouldn't have made it very far on you, that's for sure. But you can really see how uneven that spread is. A little bit of a hotter zone a little farther back, while stringing a pellet low down near the front leg and a little farther forward up into the neck area and stuff like that. So plenty good enough for an average deer hunt scenario, but definitely not what I would call over the top or perfect either necessarily. And finally, we have our hog template for you pig hunters down south as well. Pretty well the same story. Good enough, but definitely not the best we've seen by a long shot. Overall, I think it's another case of, well, it did okay. It's plenty good enough, it's going to do the job, but I don't know that this particular combination is anything overly special either. It wouldn't immediately just be my go-to recommendation for anybody. We've seen better for sure, and from a stock full choke, that's the same kind of results you're going to be getting, if not a little more even and potentially consistent as well. So I was hoping to see a little better today. It didn't completely do terrible, but this is why you test as many combos as you can. Sometimes the high expectations don't get met, and other times you're rather surprised. So kind of middle of the road today, I would say. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? I think we pretty well covered it. It's kind of middle of the road. It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It would simply just be fine and do the job for what you needed it to out to 40 yards. It's not the best we've seen. It's not the worst we've seen. And I was hoping to see a little bit better out of it. We've definitely seen plenty of much better patterns with buckshot through that particular Black Mamba choke. So maybe the little bit higher velocity that they're trying to push these shells at, and them being a 12 pellet load that doesn't have a wad, it might just be the wrong constriction for what these might prefer. I think we need to run them through something like a 700 or so and see what they do, because that might be the ticket. Might give them a little bit more breathing room to really do what they want to do. But who knows? I guess we could also try them through a little tighter choke and see what happens as well. Maybe choking them down even more might bring it in a little bit. You just never know until you try it. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these double X buckshot loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a combo that you would ever take out on a hunt? Or is it a little bit too broad or inconsistent for your taste? And maybe what other chokes do you want to see us run those shells through? We've got a few left, so let me know what direction you might want to see me go with them. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.